Good morning, everybody. Pastor Mike here with another Watchman Pure Bible Study. We're now into the book of Revelation, chapter 6, and we have spent what I think is a wonderful, wonderful time studying Revelation chapter 5, the book, the seals, the one who is worthy, and all of these things. And so we're going to carry everything that we've learned so far into an understanding of Revelation chapter 6. Now, here is what I really think is the tricky part of Revelation, or let's say even of the book of Daniel. Now we're getting into things that are prophetic, but not totally prophetic. There are things that we see here in Revelation chapter 6 that we can see. I mean, we can see right here and right now things that I think has happened. That's the miracle of the Bible. Is that it was, it is, and it is to come. It's all of those things. It's historical. When some scholars take a purely historical view of the book of Revelation, they say, no, this happened in AD 93, and the emperor of Rome was the beast, and John was writing in an obscure language so he wouldn't get caught. Well, whoop-de-doo. He's 90-some-odd years old. He's been banished to the Isle of Patmos, and he doesn't really care about getting caught in what he's saying. So he's not writing in some secret language. And so anyway, when scholars take this view that it's only historical, it doesn't really do it justice. When the current preacherettes of the day will take this view that, oh, this is all for the here and now, man, because we don't get into prophecy. That doesn't do it justice either. For those who say, oh, the book of Revelation is all in the future, it doesn't work. Jesus Christ the same yesterday, today, forever, and that applies to His Bible, and especially the book of Revelation. We can always find good practical application and see things in our lives clearly that we find in the book of Revelation because God is revealing things to us through the pages of this book. So anyway, now that we're going to carry forward the ideas that we find in Revelation chapter 5 into Revelation chapter 6. We may look a little bit at how this applies to our lives personally right now, but we also look to the future when these things are going to take place. So let's begin reading Revelation chapter 6. And I'm going to read verses 1 through 8. And then we'll just kind of get a quick overview in this Bible study of the theme of the four horsemen. And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard as it were the noise of thunder. Now we're going to deal with that noise of thunder. Let's take a look here. Revelation chapter 10, the seven thunders. Okay, we're going to get there. So we're going to hold off on that. I heard as it were the noise of thunder. One of the four beasts saying, come and see. So I want you to notice that, the Bible is all about patterns, and a lot of times it's repetitive in its nature. So we see the pattern. We see here one of the four beasts saying, come and see. And then in verse 3, another one says, come and see. In verse 5, another one says, come and see. And then verse 7, another one of these beasts says, come and see. All these odd numbers, okay? And so the four beasts, and who are these four beasts? Revelation chapter 4, it's the ones that were holding up the firmament. Revelation chapter 4, verse 6, the sea of glass. In Ezekiel chapter 1, it's described as the firmament. And here these four living creatures, these four beasts, are there. They are the cherubs that are part of the throne of God. So anyway, and I saw and behold a white horse. I am in the process right now of studying colors. Colors is always... it's been elusive to me. It's not been as clear to me as numbers, but I'm wanting to study to understand what these colors represent. And some say, well, white represents purity. Well, I'm running into a little issue here because there's some things in the Old Testament that are white that are not pure. One of them is leprosy, okay? And so I just want to make sure that I'm accurate in what I say so that we get understanding. So anyway, we're not going to deal with the white and the red and the black and the pale issue today. You have to give me a little time, all right? And I saw and behold a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow. and a crown was given unto him. I want you to notice the language, crown. It was given unto him. He didn't already have it. Okay, it was given unto him. And he went forth conquering and to conquer. When he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, Come and see. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. Verse 5, And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, Come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. Verse 7, When he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, Come and see. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name was Clint Eastwood. No, just kidding. Okay, that was a Clint Eastwood Western, Pale Horse Rider. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death. And hell followed with him. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. I want you to notice they're killing with 4 things here. And we're going to see this probably not in today's study, but we'll see it a little bit in the book of Revelation. One of the things that I want to draw your attention to is that, obviously we have a pattern here. We have the 4 beasts, and we have the opening of the first 4 seals. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's a clue here for us. Okay, this number 4 and what we've seen earlier in the Scriptures. Let's go first of all to the book of Daniel. Okay. Book of Daniel, chapter 7, in verse 1. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the 4 winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea. 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. So we have 4 beasts coming up here. We have the lion, we have a bear, we have a leopard, and then here in verse 7, and that's interesting, the lion, the leopard, the bear. In Revelation chapter 13, when the beast rises up out of the sea, guess what he looks like? The lion and the leopard and the bear. And then in verse 7, And this I saw in the night visions, behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly. Okay? And I love the word exceedingly in the Bible. I don't just guess it and just pass it off as, I know what exceedingly means. Exceedingly means it's exceeded something. Okay? Strong exceedingly means that it has reached a limit and gone beyond that. And so I would say that this 4th beast really is stronger than anything that you and I are used to in our little 3-dimensional world here. There are limits to, there are the laws of physics in the 3-dimensional world. In the spirit realm, those laws don't work. They don't exist. And so this is why he is strong exceedingly. Think about this. When Satan took Jesus up onto an exceeding high mountain, okay, I believe in the words of the Bible. They mean something. I think this was no ordinary mountain that Jesus and the devil were on, because he was showing him all the kingdoms of the earth in a moment of time. I think that he was in an exceeding high mountain. A mountain that exceeded the boundaries of this world, and it was it's sort of like a spirit realm mountain. He was showing them all the kingdoms of the world, and he said, "Hey, I'll give them to you." Okay, in Exodus chapter 19, the Israelites are gathered around the base of Mount Sinai, and they hear the voice of the trumpet exceeding loud. What that means is, what I think it means that it was louder than any earthly trumpet that they have ever heard. It was beyond the limit of loud. That's, just something to throw in there. But anyway, he was strong exceedingly, and he had great iron teeth. Okay, think about that. And it devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. So, and I want you to get this this kind of picture of what we see happening in Revelation, along with the clues that are given to us in the rest of the Bible. Here we have Jesus, and he's got everything in his hand now. Okay, the God the Father had it. Now he's given it to his Son, and now the Son has it, and now it's his. Okay, and now what has? Listen to this. Now you're going to like this. What has been bound up, what has been sealed up, is now going to be loosed. Okay, think of all the things that we have seen out of the Scriptures, and listen to the talk of the word faith, witchcraft people, or the law of attraction people, how they all talk about how this has to be released and this has to be loosed, and you have to release your faith, and God has to be loosed so He can work. Everything right now that the devil wants to happen is not happening. Okay. It kind of a little bit is happening, but the full fury and the full force of what the devil wants for total world domination and everyone to say, hey, that's God, he's not getting right now because it's bound up, it's sealed, okay? And the devil himself cannot even break that seal. So Jesus now has it. And why is he going to let that out? There's a terrible, wicked, evil, strong, iron-teethed beast under the depths of the ocean. Why is Jesus going to let that thing loose? It's his judgment. Okay? We're going to read, probably not today, we're going to read probably next week about the 4 sore judgments. If you want to kind of jump ahead of me on this, write that down. 4 sore judgments. And I think they're in Ezekiel 14, I believe. And so anyway, just kind of study ahead on that and you'll see some things. But anyway, here we have the releasing now. They're coming up out of the sea. They were bound and now they're being loosed. And that coincides with, I believe, Daniel chapter 2. We have... let's see here. We have Daniel chapter 2. We have the image that Nebuchadnezzar saw: the head of gold, the chest of silver, the legs of brass, and now we have the feet. That's the 4th part and the 4th kingdom. Okay, and it's part of iron. There's the iron teeth of the 4th beast, and part of clay. Well, that's us. Okay, we're made out of dirt, and so. In verse 43, whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. And I want to, because people have asked me this particular question. Pastor Mike, do you think that the genetically modified foods, or the wild, wicked vaccinations, or do you think this, or do you think whatever, is already changing our DNA into this 3-strand DNA? And I would say no. Okay, and in other words, what they're asking is, do you think that this is already taking place? I don't think so, because man doesn't have the ability to do it. Neither do all the devils of hell have any ability to do this. Until it's been released, until it's been unsealed. Let me draw a DNA picture for you. Okay. Anyway, that was lousy. Anyway, the DNA, as you know right now, DNA is it's rolled up. Okay? It's all sealed up in your cells. Okay? Every DNA strand you have sort of looks like this. It's rolled up like a scroll. And when the cell in your body says, hey, let's make another cell. Okay? So they start dividing everything up, and they make this new cell, and before the new cell completely splits apart, the DNA that says, hey, you need this, you need a copy of this. So what happens is that this has to be unrolled, okay, and unsealed. It's unzipped. It's torn right down the middle, and this half goes to the new cell, this half stays here, and the new cell knows how to make the other half because there's rules that go along with this. And so the old cell knows that, well, we've lost half our DNA, but, we can make more, so they make another strand just like that one, okay? That's how the Bible should be. It should just be passed down exactly the way it was, when you got it. So anyway, but it has to be loosed, okay? And I really don't think that any of these things right now are unloosed. And I want to throw this in here too. And this is, you can pay me 5 cents for this little piece of advice, okay? I've had people write me and say, Pastor Mike, it looks to me like we're already in the tribulation. I mean, I really think that, okay? I don't see the unsealing yet. It hasn't been unsealed. Okay, that's just what I think. These things are still bound up. This white horse here, who has a bow in his hand, well, it just says he that sat on him had a bow. It didn't say it was in his hand. I added that. I shouldn't have done that. A crown was given unto him, which means that he doesn't have authority, but now he's going to be given authority. Let's look at a practical application of this. Okay, let's examine your life for a minute. God always tries to, He'll chasten us. He'll use His rod of correction. He'll chasten us. And every now and then we get really cold on God. We get cold, we get lazy, we get disobedient, and we get back in a little bit of sin. Oh no, not like it used to be, but we get back into it. And God, you know what God does? He says, okay, I'm going to let you go read the book of Judges, and you'll see that every time Israel got full of pride and they got into sin, God said, here you go. Okay? It's almost like what he did, he literally gave authority to the Philistines. He gave the Philistines a crown and said, here, reign over my people. It'd be real mean to them. Be harsh and cruel and stick your tongue out every time and call them Jew boys and call them names and make them cry. Be really, really, really mean to my people. Because that's the only way that when they're done, when they've had enough, then they'll cry out unto me and I'll be their Savior once again. And I see this in my life, and I see it in our church. I see it in, just these patterns, and I guarantee you can see it in your life. Where every now and then, okay, the things, because we get cold on God or we get pride in our lives, like, boy, I haven't sinned in 3 days and 12 minutes. Man, I think I've got it. I think I'm never going to sin ever again. Okay? God, appreciate it. Don't need you for a while. Well, I think a little white horse is going to come riding in, and God's going to give him a little crown of authority, limited authority, and say, reign over him. Be cruel to him for a while. Okay? And when we've had enough of that, we cry out unto God, and God always hears us, and God always saves us. So I kind of think that's what goes on. So here we have this, we have a horse and rider, and I've got some verses that talk about that here in a little bit. So here we have a horse and a rider, and he's been released, and he has a bow, and a crown has been given to him, and he goes forth conquering and to conquer. Think about the things in your life right now that are not, you listen to this now, that are not under the direct control of the Holy Spirit. And there could very well be some things in your life right now that are not under the control of the Holy Spirit. Okay? And let me back up here. Okay? God is always in control of everything. God is always in charge, whether He sends out a horse and rider, and that horse and rider is evil and bad and mean, okay? God's in charge of that one too. Because remember, He holds everything in His hand. But issues in life that are still part of your self-will nature, okay? God wants those things to be placed under His authority, under His rule. And until you do that, God's going to put that under cruel authority. And it's going to conquer certain things in your life that you want to give over to God. I hope I'm making sense in this, okay? But anyway, in fact, let me do this. Let me go to another verse that'll help explain this. Ephesians chapter 6. Because we're dealing with the four horsemen. We're dealing the 4 horses and their riders. Okay, I got some neat verses on that. We're dealing with 4 horses here, the 4 beasts who are saying, come and see, and we're seeing those things come out. And I want you to notice this. Here's what I think this represents. Finally, my brethren, Ephesians 6:10, you probably already know this. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of His might. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. There's that standing thing. Okay? Now, watch this. Okay? Because let's sort of paint a picture in our mind that here is all of God's people, and here's all the pseudo-Christians and the devil's people over here. Okay? And at some point, I really think this, at some point, I think it's going to be very, very, very clear who's who. Because right now we have a lot of people sitting in churches everywhere. Oh, I'm saved. Oh, I'm born again. Oh, I got the Holy Ghost. Oh, I'm, this and that and the other. They talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. Okay? And the days of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego come to mind, because here they are out in the plain of Dura, and the music, all kinds of music starts playing, and what happens? All of these people over here fall away. They fall down and worship this image that Nebuchadnezzar set up with the 6s all over it. 60 cubits tall and 6 cubits wide, and this and that and the other. And here's Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who are going. Okay? They might even have a little attitude with it. Okay? But they're the only ones standing. And it's pretty clear now who's who. And so I think that a situation like that is approaching. I think that it's going to be clear one of these days who's on the Lord's side and who's not. I mean, you stop and think about, just reference that, who's on the Lord's side. That goes back to the days of Moses. Okay? Hey, who's on the Lord's side? Come over and stand by me. A bunch of people ran over and stood by Moses. And the rest of those people over there, they were standing there, and all of a sudden the earth opened up, swallowed them up whole. Okay? And the people standing by Moses were going, I think we made the right decision here. Okay? I think that scenario is going to happen. So watch this. Okay? So put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. There is a falling away that's going to take place, but not among those who have the armor of God and are going to stand, to withstand, to stand fast, as Paul says. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. He says in verse 13, wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day. Okay? The evil day. I'm thinking that there is going to be a day coming that's going to be like the big day. Okay? The big event. The paradigm shift. Okay? I think that there's going to be a day when all of this stuff is going to break loose. I think seals are going to start coming off of a book, and horses are going to be released out of the chute. And he says, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand. Stand, therefore, having your loins girded about with truth. And you see all that. Okay? And so this is kind of where I'm going with this. There's been attempts made by various scholars, various teachers, to say, well, this is the revived Roman Empire, and this is, what was it, Tim LaHaye wrote in his fiction books, some guy named Nikolai Carpathia. Come on. Okay? Couldn't come up with anything better than that. So anyway, this is kind of my spin on things here. The patterns of the number 4 indicate to me the spiritual nature of this. These are spirit being horses. Okay, they are spiritual horses. The horses that are not, earthly horses, they're spiritual ones. They're spirits. You see that in Revelation chapter 19, because Christ is on a white horse, and those who follow with him, the 10,000s of his saints, I believe that's you and I, are on horses. Now, that's not Trigger or Silver or Secretariat or any of these other horses that you can see on this earth. These are spirit realm beings here. And so these are spirits that are being sent forth into the earth. They're being released. They have a purpose, they have a plan, and they're being released upon the earth to fulfill that plan. Speaking of that, let's go to Zechariah, if you would, because this is interesting. You see, it's slightly different, as is a lot of things are between the Old and the New Testament. But you see these same horses show up in the book of Zechariah. Let me get my Bible. Habakkuk, Nahum, Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah. Here we go. Always helps to memorize the books of the Old Testament. And if you have to start back a little bit and move forward, that's okay. You know where they are. In Zechariah chapter 6, and I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, there came 4 chariots. Okay, now remember, chariots are drawn by horses. These chariots are angels. Okay, that we remember in the video that we did called UFOs, the Chariots of the Beast. The book of Psalms identifies angels or chariots as angels, as spirits. And behold, there came 4 chariots out from between 2 mountains, and the mountains were mountains of brass. In the first chariot were red horses. In the second chariot, black horses. The third chariot, white horses. And in the fourth chariot, grizzled and bay horses. Okay, so we see the red, the black, the white. Grizzled and bay, I think, corresponds with the pale in Revelation chapter 6. Verse 4, Then I answered and said unto the angel that talked with me, What are these, my Lord? And the angel answered and said unto me, These are the 4 spirits of the heavens. Okay, that's why I think what I think. Are they representative of things on this earth? Yeah, or represented by things on this earth? Yeah, I think so. But what I believe, the true, proper, biblical explanation of each one of these horses and its rider is that these are the 4 spirits of the heavens. Okay, so they are not earthly realm. They are spiritual in nature, sort of like an order of, I guess maybe you can say they're cherubs. Okay, or cherubim. These are the 4 spirits of the heavens which go forth from standing before the Lord of all the earth. The black horses, and then it just kind of goes into that there. So I think the Bible right here is helping us to identify, so that if some tricky scholar who has an agenda to pull you away from the Scriptures says, now this horse here represents, let's say Saddam Hussein, or I'm just making that up, but maybe somebody actually said that. You can say no, because right here it says that they are spirits, and that's what I believe. Something that I have pointed out in this study before, dealing with the book of Revelation, is that I read Tim LaHaye's, right after his first Left Behind book come out. Okay, and everybody goes, Tim LaHaye, oh wow, he wrote the Left Behind book. But now everybody knows his name. And so now, whoever his publisher is republishing some old books of his, because now he's famous and he's making a lot of money. Okay, I can tell you the guy's a millionaire, multi-millionaire because of these books. Okay, and so years ago, Tim LaHaye wrote a commentary on the book of Revelation, and my wife got me a copy because she knew I was kind of interested in prophecy, and she said, hey, here, read this. This is back when we were, So anyway, so I'm reading this one day, and I'm going, that just doesn't sound right to me. He was talking about Revelation chapter 10. Revelation chapter 10, you have the 7 thunders, and Tim LaHaye writes, now the 7 thunders are the 7 stages of the early Roman Empire, according to blah, 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 blah. And I'm going, who said that there were 7 stages to the Roman Empire? I don't see that in the Scriptures. And it dawned on me, okay? A lot, I won't say all, but a lot of quote-unquote scholarship, especially when it comes to prophetic things, is they take the things out of the Bible, the symbols out of the Bible, and they try to explain it using earthly terminologies or historical events or this and that and the other. I just take the assumption that I don't know that that's true. I've never read anywhere that the Roman Empire had 7 stages. Well, that was one author and that was one historian who said it had 7 stages. Well, how about some other historian who said it had 2, a beginning and an end? It's not authoritative. And so I'm going to stick with what I know to be absolutely 100% true. And do I have a total understanding now of Revelation chapter 6 and these horses? No, I don't. But I've locked on to one thing that I know for sure, is that these are spirits, okay, that have been bound up right now, and they're going to be released one of these days. And when they get released, it's going to be bad. It's going to be real bad. We see here that one goes forth conquering and to conquer. And I do see. Some people have pointed this out to me. One of the logos, I think it was of the European Union or something like that, or I can't remember what it was. It's like a caricature of a man riding a white horse, kind of conquering, okay? And I'm going, okay, yeah, this is that which was spoken. I think the spirit of this is already at work, building mankind up to a point. I mean, we can clearly see that everything that's going on in this world right now is about conquering and global domination from a centralized source. Instead of having all these nations split up, and let's let the Americans rule the Americans, and let's let the Arabians rule the Arabians. That's not how it is. How it is right now is that let's all be buddies. Let's all gather together, and let's have a centralized form of government. I think that is leading up to this right here. Okay, it's not happened yet. The United Nations wants that to happen, but it's not happened yet. It's because it's still sealed. Okay, it hasn't happened yet. But when Jesus looses this seal, this white horse comes out, and his rider comes out. He has a crown, and he goes forth conquering and to conquer. And nobody's going to stand in his way. Nobody is. Okay? Same thing with the second seal. There was a red horse. He takes peace from the earth. And now there's going to be wars everywhere. And there was given to him a great sword. A sword is always a picture of warfare. Okay, it's a weapon. And now we have warfares going on all over the earth. Okay. And then we have the black horse, and he has balances in his hand, and we see barley and wheat being measured out, and hurt not the oil and the wine. Some scholars say the oil and the wine were luxury items, and on and on. I don't know that, okay, because I see oil and wine all through the Bible. Doesn't look like luxury items to me in the Bible, so I look for a better biblical explanation in this, okay? But we have that, and then we have the fourth one coming out, and we have death. And power was given to him to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. He kills a fourth part of the earth, okay? A fourth part of the earth. What is it? The population is about 7 billion people right now. 25% of that. Let's see, that would be almost 2 billion people. Almost. Okay, that's just a little quick math I'm doing in my head. Almost 2 billion people dead. Okay? Sounds like what's on the Georgia Guidestones. But anyway, so I think that these are spirits that are bound right now and have not been released. But when they are released, this is now Jesus taking his vengeance, and he's now loosing things that have been bound up so far. And what a day that is going to be. And so the thing that I want to stress to you today is stand. Okay? Get your armor on, keep things right in your life, and stand so that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and this evil day is coming. We got a lot more to deal with. I'm going to continue to study. We may just kind of move through this, and like 6 months from now, I may go, "Hey, I know what this is," and we'll go back to it. Okay. So anyway, this is going to be interesting. Now it's going to, we may go kind of slow here, as if we haven't already, because I want to understand what all of this means. Not just come out here. Tim LaHaye's commentary said this. I don't care what anybody else says. I want to know what the Word of God said. Anyway, I'm rambling. I'm going to get out of here. God bless you. I love you. I thank you for your prayers and your love for us. And here, keep it up because we need it. And I just want to get this Bible out and teach it right. This is Pastor Mike. I love you. God bless you. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.